Stop true crime bragging.
Comment section of my favorite murder episode somehow makes its way into the show.
Bitch, my generation gets traumatized for breakfast.
Kids.
Was it my best work? I don't know. Does it deserve to be shit on creatively?
Instead of acknowledging how childhood memories can be inaccurate, Rick gets all defensive as if Beth just dropped an Everything Wrong with Fruipyland video. This calendar with only 4 days in the week.
You know, it collapsed the quantum tesseract.
Adding the word quantum to... No, wait. Adding the word tesseract to... No, that's not it either. Okay, got it. Combining two sciencey words and adding a random verb to create a phrase that sounds like Rick did something impressive. Cliché. Drawing a portal on a mobile door. Based on the trees alone, it's pretty obvious that Rick ripped off Dr. Seuss. And no one gets away with that without a sinning.
Dad, you're right. I'm a terrible dad.
The terrible dad then goes on to throw himself from the cliff that won't kill him rather than pushing his unsuspecting daughter to her non-death. And that would have really sealed the terrible dad title into place for eternity.
A dad makes a toilet look like R2-D2 and it breaks the front page of Reddit.
Insinuating that Rick gives a Star Wars-sized shit about the front page of Reddit.
No, seriously! This hurts really bad!
In that case, you'd think he wouldn't wait until being taken to the nest to take out his gun and shoot the threat. No people saw these two people floating in people-sized bubbles and stopped to take a picture and or follow for the views of the people they would surely garner on social media.
Your place looks way less like a crack house.
Show doesn't clarify if this assessment is based on first-hand experience at a crack house or some are making assumptions based on TV or some shit.
It's actually clean, like a cocaine house.
Show doesn't clarify if this assessment is based on first-hand experience at a cocaine house or Morty making assumptions based on TV or some shit.
I'm simply centered, activated.
Writers make Summer suddenly clumsy, as if Jerry isn't annoying enough to show off his powers without provocation.
Who wants a smoothie?
First off, no one said yes. And second, anyone that does want a smoothie would also like you to put a little more effort into the recipe and not just put every piece of rinded fruit you have into a blender. Also, Summer and Morty both just stand there and watch Jerry not putting the top back on the blender without screaming, running, or voicing disapproval in any way whatsoever.
I'm sure you noticed what she has 3 of, but guess what she has 2 of?
Is a thing that Jerry just said to his children.
Are you saying Tommy survived here by having sex with fruity creatures, creating fruity human hybrid offspring, and then consuming their proteins, sustaining himself with an endless cycle of cannibalistic incest?
Writers suddenly realize their story's a hair too long and complicated for the show's 20-something minute runtime, so they ham-fist the episode with a bunch of quick-witted exposition wrapped in a plot reveal so disgusting we feel the need to go wash our hands during the commercial break.
Dad, do you understand how serious Crutabulon soul bonding is?
Nope. And considering it doesn't come up for the remainder of the episode, it's probably not that big of a deal at all.
She's got a hot bod like Chitara in Thundercats.
If the Thundercats exist in this cartoon universe, would they be considered cartoons? Or by the standards of their reality, would they be considered live action? And if a cartoon universe has its own version of cartoons, wouldn't those cartoons have to be one-dimensional? And what would that even look like? These are the kind of answers I watch Rick and Morty for, and I'm not getting them.
After all the time and energy I spent teaching you two about race, you ended up racist.
The sin is the writers thinking Jerry would think that he could get away with pretending to think that he could have possibly taught anyone anything.
I always find the theater is the best way to clarify things.
Somewhere in time, there's a 5th grade version of me watching a performance of The Crucible that would very much disagree.
Do you want to see the honey swamp?
The same Rick that made the ground bouncy and the water breathable managed to overlook the fact that a swamp filled with honey is many orders of magnitude more dangerous than a regular swamp.
I am hungry, and all I could do to pass the time is hump.
My dog's inner monologue somehow makes its way into the episode.
Leave him alone!
Gather round, gang! Dinner time!
Moments after Tommy has applied his seed, this animal births a new Fruipy character, and unfortunately the rules of this episode place this sin in the category of meals being prepared too quickly to have been made in accordance with proper food safety measures.
All right, that's it. I'm out of here.
No one untied Rick's hands. He just slipped out of them to escape, so why not do this before watching the theatric retelling of Tommy's cringeworthy survival plan?
But Tommy's still in there ripping Muppets and eating babies.
Is a thing that Beth said in this episode.
Look at some of the shit you were asking me to make you as a kid. Ray guns?
Do they shoot rays, or are they named Ray? Or do they specifically shoot only people named Ray? Hey, these are legitimate questions for a show that's willing to introduce a sentient switchblade.
A lightning gun?
That's just a fancy taser.
A taser shaped like a ladybug?
That's just a fancy lightning gun.
A pink sentient switchblade.
Does it being pink make it worse? Then why didn't you specify the colors of the other objects? Rick? And why hasn't Rick fixed his boo-boos?
Has it occurred to you that I asked you to make those things because I wanted you to spend time with me?
Has it occurred to you that your request for these items resulted in a father that actually made them, thereby encouraging your behavior? Take that to your next counseling session.
I think you have to stab them through the heart or something.
Says the guy stabbing the creature through the head. So if the alien heart is the head, then Morty should share that specific information with his family to avoid confusion.
People should eat people.
They should not.
And that's why one pussy plus two pussies makes a bunch of pussies.
A bunch? At most, this is a clouder, and you know it.
Look, I'm not an evil person. I'm just not very imaginative.
But doesn't it take imagination to create the lie that your children were responsible for the breakup? I know Jerry makes no sense, but the writing of Jerry not making sense should make sense. Make sense? This calendar with only 5 days in the week. We wouldn't dare play the music in the background of this touching father-daughter working moment, mostly because it's a song about taking a shit, and the show is trying to make us think it's a metaphor for fatherhood. Did they have this t-shirt just laying around, or did they spend time making this? Because it's not easy writing on t-shirts. It takes a lot of time to get the lettering right. So this feels a bit like they wasted time on this instead of rushing to stop the execution. Having more fridge pictures of a child that you do not prefer. None of the Variks chose this moment of distraction to attack the warrior woman who slaughtered their kin yesterday.
You just got handed an ex machina.
Cliche.
We're home.
Leaving the front door wide the f*** open.
Arnaldo's isn't closed in the dimension where they didn't invent daylight savings.
What would we do without you?
Find a pizza place that doesn't close before dinner time, or at least not before the sun goes down.
By the way, that wasn't time travel. There were just a couple pizzas on the counter. I grabbed them.
Rick has to break the fourth wall to explain something so the internet doesn't explode with fan theories about what the insipid detail of Rick not waiting for pizza means in regard to what is and isn't possible.
Yo, Jerry, it's the Big R. I killed that alien that was coming after you. Looking out for you, buddy.
Show thinks we would momentarily believe that Rick did something nice for Jerry and not see the
I f***ed your ex-girlfriend.
joke coming from a mile away.
You can go ahead and keep that answering machine. Nobody really uses those anymore except for exposition on TV shows anyways.
Show cleverly writes its way out of an antiquated joke by expositing its own exposition, but still exposition.
I do not want to live in Rainbow Land, and you can't make me!
Who wants a smoothie?
What are you talking about? Smooth like a drink or something?
Listen, I've been giving you a pass because I'm charmed that life finds a way, but...
If there's one thing the history of evolution has taught us, it's that life will not be contained. Life breaks free, it expands to new territories, and it crashes through barriers painfully, maybe even dangerously, but, well, there it is.
Well, here's the problem right here.
A mutated P36 immunosuppression gene that renders them immune to all poisons.
What is that smell?
Ooh, it's poo-poo with a dash of caca.
I suppose you're wondering, how do I sustain myself?
I am evil, therefore I am lonely.
Well, that didn't go as planned.
I respect your right to believe I pushed you.
When you marooned me on that godforsaken spit of land, you forgot one very important thing, mate. I'm Captain Jack Sparrow.
I roared.